What you're about to watch was originally intended to be part of one video and takes place on the same day that I visited Gwal-y-Filliast. It became clear during editing that these two amazing locations each deserve a video all of their own. So what follows is my visit to one of Britain's largest and best preserved Neolithic dolmens, and if I'm being completely honest, it's probably one of my favourite places that I've filmed for my channel so far.
I thought the last one was big. This is huge. Oh wow, that is so big. I can literally walk underneath it without crouching at all.
This magnificent ancient structure is called Pentre Ifan, and it's widely believed to be what's left of a Neolithic communal burial chamber. It's thought that once upon a time, around 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, this impressive ancient skeleton of rocks was covered by a mound of earth, and that over thousands of years this mound has all but vanished. Its name means simply Ifan's Hamlet or Ifan's Village, and very likely refers to the name of a person who at some point in history either had a farm or a small settlement here. Unlike Gwal-y-Filliast, there's probably no historical sagas or mysterious mythological reason tied to this name, although, as we will see shortly, Pentre Ifan is not immune to tales of the otherworldly.
I thought the last one was going to be my favourite because of where it is, but this is definitely a contender. It's so big. I'm a bit lost for words, to be honest. Yeah, it's very, very impressive. It's definitely bigger than I thought it was going to be. When I walked down the path and I saw it, I was just like, wow. But the fact that I can't even touch the top there. There you go. I can just get it there. So I'm 5'9", and on tiptoes I can just touch the top. I can get my hand on it. There we go. It's really quite large, and it looks amazing, and the landscape is beautiful.
A Welsh archaeologist by the name of William Grimes undertook excavations here between 1936 and 37, and then again between 1958 and 59. The earliest evidence of activity here that he discovered was the presence of what has been interpreted to be ritual pits. These are deliberately created holes or depressions in the ground that contain deposits of objects, food, animal remains, or even human remains. The presence of ritual pits are found in many archaeological sites worldwide, and whilst no one can really be sure what their exact meaning was, it's widely believed that they served a ritualistic purpose. Theories for this include offerings made to deities, or as a way to connect with the ancestors, and in some cases it's believed that these pits are there to mark a significant event, or even the construction of an important monument, like Pentre Ifan. What's interesting about these excavations is that the only objects found were a few flakes of worked flint and a small amount of pottery. As far as I could find out, no other ritualistic or burial items, including bones, either animal or human, were ever found during these excavations. What Grimes did find, though, was evidence that suggests there was indeed a mound here. He found a number of what are thought to be curbstones, i.e. stones that line the outside of a burial mound, like the ones seen here at this site on Anglesey. The entrance to the tomb is thought to have been flanked on both sides by large stones, with the mound and the stones creating a horned or curved entrance, like the one seen here in this artist's impression. And whilst it's very difficult to pick this up on camera, there does indeed appear to be evidence of this mound shape on the ground. This slight raise in the ground that could be remnants of this construction stretches some way back from the entrance and can be picked up slightly better by the camera here. Whilst the prevailing theory seems to be that dolmens such as Pentre Ifan were created originally as burial chambers, there have been those that have challenged this theory. James Ferguson, a Scottish architectural historian writing in 1872, stated that men do not raise such masses and poise them on their points for the sake of hiding them again. Besides that, the supports do not and could not form a chamber. The earth would have fallen in on all sides, and the connection between the roof and the floor being cut off entirely, even before the whole was completed. The huge capstone balancing on the points of its supporters truly is a sight to behold, and it really does give the impression of a floating stone. Did the original creators really intend for this interesting feature to be hidden? But as you may have noticed, that was before the excavations. So what about since? Much more recently, archaeology professors Vicky Cummings and Colin Richards have suggested that dolmens such as Pentre Ifan were never burial chambers, but instead what we see today is largely what was intended by those who created them: monumental and visually striking structures. But I am monumentally far from being an expert on this, and it's certainly something that there appears to be debate over. So, what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts, theories, or even your evidence in the comments below. There are many stories throughout Wales of the world of the Fae. Much like the rest of these lands, you don't have to look far to read accounts of strange things afoot in the wild and lonely places of forest, field, shore and mountain. Every territory has its tales, and every county its curiosities. On my last visit to a dolmen, otherwise known as a cromlech here in Wales, I touched briefly on timeless whispers of dolmens being entrances to the otherworld. In Welsh mythology, it is known as Annwn or Annwfn, and it's a place where fairies and other liminal beings exist. These beings can come and go, and at times, and often unwittingly, humans can cross over, often lured by music and dancing fair folk. Throughout the British Isles, there are a number of legends which tell of those who have done such a thing, only to appear again in our world, to find that much time has passed and their lives have been lost to old age. Indeed, many accounts of fairies do seem to paint them in a mischievous and not altogether sparkly light. In 1911, Walter Evans Wentz, an American anthropologist and writer, released a book called The Fairy Faith in Celtic Countries. To compile evidence for his book, he interviewed people from different walks of life, including, as he referred to them, the Celtic peasants. His investigation in Pembrokeshire brought him to within the locality of Pentre Ifan and to the home of a Welsh maiden, 60 years old, who had lived all her life within the site of the famous Pentre Ifan cromlech in her ancestral home. He reports that, since her childhood, she has heard curious legends and stories, and with a more than ordinary interest in the lore of her native country, has treasured them all in her clear and well-trained memory. Walter and his friend spent 2 nights at this maiden's home, and they talked long into the night. He recounts her words. Spirits and fairies exist all around us, invisible. Fairies have no solid bodily substance. Their forms are of matter like ghostly bodies, and on this account they cannot be caught. In the twilight they are often seen, and on moonlit nights in summer. Only certain people can see fairies, and such people hold communication with them and have dealings with them. But it's difficult to get them to talk about fairies. I think the spirits about us are the fallen angels. For when old Dr. Harris died, his books on witchcraft had to be burned in order to free the place where he lived from evil spirits. The fairies, too, are sometimes called the fallen angels. They will do good to those who befriend them and harm to others. There are two distinct types of spirits. One is good and the other is bad. I have heard of people going to the fairies and finding that years passed as days. But I do not believe in the changelings, though there are stories enough about them. That there are fairies and other spirits like them, both good and bad, I firmly believe. My mother used to tell about seeing the fair folk dancing in the fields near Cardigan, and other people have seen them round the cromlech up there on the hill. They appeared as little children in clothes like soldiers' clothes and with red caps, according to some accounts. The maiden continues, relaying experiences in her home of what she calls a death candle, a luminous mass of light which dances as though borne by an invisible agency. And she tells Walter about other fairies at a farm in Cardigan, before Walter reports of a haunted ancient manor house less than a mile away from the Pentre Ifan Dolmen. But perhaps those are tales for another time. I'm left wondering how prevalent these beliefs were in 1911. Were these the beliefs of many, or just the few? Were they more common amongst the country folk? Either way, according to this one maiden and to Walter, there was much supernatural activity surrounding the area of Pentre Ifan. Down the rabbit hole that is the internet, I did hear whispers of ghostly figures in robes thought to be ancient druids appearing to onlookers at Pentre Ifan, but these were just whispers and I couldn't find any original accounts. The redcaps caught my attention though. Whilst not local to this area, there are legends of some notoriously sinister fairies called redcaps. According to folklore, these live in Scotland and on the Scottish borders. These fairy folk with red caps do not look like innocent children though. They are described to be more like evil goblins, with fiery red eyes, sharp teeth, scraggly beards, and a cap which is red, because they've soaked it in the blood of their victims. They are said to haunt ruins of castles, forts, and the like. And they throw rocks at the unsuspecting, resulting in their target's death. And those who do see the redcaps are futile in their attempts to fight them off. No man is strong enough to defeat them. But it is said that the reading of biblical scripture in their presence sends them fleeing in fear. But the fairies of Pentre Ifan appear much more innocent and not at all like these evil goblins. But does this mean that they are safe? Are these the friendly type, the good spirits that the maiden speaks of? Or is it just an illusion? What do you think? Would you follow these fairies? So we've done both the worldly and now the somewhat weird. What say you about the fairies? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and give it a like. And if you're a regular here and would like to support my channel with a gift, I've recently set up an account on Buy Me a Coffee. Everything you give goes back into helping me create these videos and enables me to grow in this craft. Thank you so much to those who have already supported me in this way and through supers in the comments. Your help is so very much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.